a building full of lovely people. Many of our activists are at El Shifa tonight, but we have families from Beit Hanun, we have families from Sharjah, we have families from all over the area that are refugees from their own homes. And they've been with us now for a couple of weeks, sharing my apartment building and sharing apartments, etc. So I hope that they're safe. There are many small children in this and teenagers in this group, and obviously I worry for them. Um, just if you just joined me, you may not know who I am. I'll just give you a very quick rundown. My name is Denny Cormier. I live in Gaza City, in Gaza Strip, and I've been here now for 4 months. I'm a human rights activist, and I have been broadcasting from time to time since the beginning of this 21, now 22-day attack on Gaza. It's really quite horrific. Many nights I did not have any bombing in my area, but other areas of Gaza were bombed so that they are in rubble. But tonight it seems they are bombing some parts of Gaza City. I cannot tell you where at this point in time. I will try to find out for you if anyone is online that is in the affected area. As I say, I am near the sea and the gunboats are just offshore. I saw them earlier today on several occasions where they were getting close enough to be seen. And this afternoon they did some bombing. They bombed one of the outbuildings, not one of the main buildings, but bombed one of the outbuildings of the Al Shifa hospital. A rocket fell on that this afternoon. They also targeted a park in Al Shati camp, which is north of me, about a kilometer. Children were gathered in a park celebrating the Eid festival. This is the end of Ramadan, and today is a great celebration, and children will frequently go to parks. They targeted the park. 10 babies were killed. 40 others 40 other children were.
Well, he obviously got very emotional, and it's an emotional situation, but this is the problem. They know that they're going to bomb, and they leave their kids there. That makes them either very stupid or they're using those children as shields. And Israel is saying don't do that because, we are going to protect our children from being bombed from Hamas. So don't put your kids in a park next to us or next to where we're going to be bombing,
on the park in
because they will bomb them, and it's your fault.
Nothing short of a war crime. I joined others at a press conference at Al Shifa Hospital this afternoon and made my point very clear that Israel is definitely doing war crimes here in the Gaza area, and that they should be held responsible. I also believe that the United States and its government is also complicit in this war crime. I have no doubt in my mind at all. There has been virtually nothing done except a little small talk. Even with the top people in our State Department, nothing has changed in Gaza. In fact, it's worse now than it was a few days ago before we had a little bit of a break. We had somewhat of a break today, but even when I was walking to the hospital, I heard shelling. And just before I went to the hospital today was when the children were killed. The bomb was horrific sounding. It shook my building. I didn't know what was hit until I got word that the 10 children were killed. It really is not a pleasant type thing to go through. I am fine, to be really honest with you, and I'm as calm as I can be under the circumstances tonight. But Gaza is definitely under attack. We have been holding a vigil, a number of international activists. Most of us are friends. We know each other very well. We live in Gaza. We work on many of the same projects, and we're holding vigil as a human shield at the Al Shifa Hospital. Two of my good friends are there tonight, Charles and Joe Catron. Joe is from the United States. Charles is from Sweden. Charlie, they call him. And they could well be being bombed right now. I can't tell. However, the bombs are exploding from that direction of the city. And I pray for them that they are safe. I wish that I was there with them, to be very frank with you. There are so many patients at that hospital, and there are hundreds and hundreds of refugees that have taken whatever space they can. On the ground, they're putting up makeshift tents, but they have nothing. They have nothing. They have no food, they have no water, they definitely have no shelter. I've seen some of the makeshift tents where there are 14 people inside a space that would normally be used for 2 people in a camping tent. And these aren't tents, these are just blankets and sheets and women's clothing that are being held up there to provide some privacy for these people. But they are right behind the hospital in a park. They're all over the hospital area. They're actually even sleeping on the stairways. Most of them are refugees from the Shujaiya camp. And those from the Shujaiya camp, that their city has been just about demolished. I can start the video again if someone is losing video. It's possible that there is some problems. I will change the quality of the video a little bit to assist that. Maybe that will help.
What has to be said is that this could very well be Israel. But if this was happening in Israel, none of these people would be crying for the children in Israel. Israel knows that.
It's nothing that I can really do locally here. Mainly I'm just holding vigil tonight, and to be very frank with you, giving a first-hand experience of what it means to be living under an area that's being bombarded. I hope that we don't have any bad experiences tonight, obviously, especially for the lovely people that are in this building with me. And for neighbors, I live in a densely populated residential area.
I'll be breaking in on time to time, because he is going to go on how terrible this is. This is terrible. But as far as human life, it's avoidable. These people are going to understand eventually that Israel is not playing. And if you want to put your children in harm's way, then that's on you. If you want to use your children and your wives and your old people as shields, that's on you. Israel is shown time and time again it is going to bomb this area, and if you're there, you're going to be bombed. Crying to the world is not going to save your life. Save your own life. Save yourselves. Get out of the way. Leave. If you are not a combatant, leave. If you're there when these bombs fall, then you're a combatant. There are no civilians in this war. When they attacked the United States on 9/11, there were no civilians. When they talk about the destruction of the United States and Israel, there are no civilians. There are no civilians in Gaza either. And I keep asking, why can't they go to Egypt? Why won't they go to Egypt? I can understand why Israel wouldn't let them come to Israel. I can understand that. People think that the Jewish people are cold with black hearts to do this. Well, the people of Israel know what happens when you do nothing, like they did in Germany with the Nazis. They did nothing. They lined up and they got on the train. And look what happened. No more trains. No more lining up for Israel. Israel is done lining up. Israel is done laying down. You want to fire rockets at Israel? They are going to fire bigger rockets back. And they are showing the world this. I understand the United States and the UN trying to broker peace. Keep at it. Keep doing it. Go for it. This has been happening for 64 years. Longer than a lot of people have even been alive. And this has been going on. Why? Because Israel stops and lets somebody broker peace. And while they're brokering peace, organizations like Hamas are stockpiling rockets. We see in the chats how people talk and they take sides with this brutality, saying that it's Israel doing this. Israel should stop. And then right after that, I turn to a video and a Hamas leader says, no, Israel has no right to be here. Israel has no right to be a state. And then if you go to Iran, you can look at another video that says all Jews should be killed. And then you turn to the leaders of the Jewish people and you tell them to stop bombing. It's inhumane. No, they laid down before. It didn't work for them. Was it 6 million plus Jews were killed because they laid down, because they stopped? Had the Jewish people, had them 6 million people picked up guns and went against Hitler, Hitler would have never been able to do what he did. The United States knows this. The Jewish people know this. And now the people of Gaza knows this. There is no peace. There is no peace. Because every time Israel stops, somebody fires a rocket. Somebody goes to one of them tunnels and sets off a bomb. Do they strap the bombs to their children? Yes, they do. Do they strap bombs to them women? Yes, they do. Do they strap bombs to them old people? Yes, they do. They are their own problem. And it's a problem Israel is tired of. Israel don't want this problem anymore. And they'll take it up with their God. That's what Israel will do. They'll take it up with their God. Because, the word is, thou shalt not kill. Period. Thou shalt not kill. But it's pretty hard to read the Bible from the grave. But then if you've got a commitment to your God, it shouldn't matter, because there should be a life after this. But I think both sides are starting to get to the point where their gods have failed them miserably. Well, I think that they have their faith when it comes down to it, they will not follow the thou shalt not kill rule. They will kill or be killed. And like I said, they'll take it up with God later. That's just my opinion. But as I watch these people parade these kids and use these kids as shields, I could only feel sorry for the kids. In the same way that we have all these kids crossing into the United States because of the violence in their countries. Is it possible that Egypt is doing the same thing to the people of Gaza that we are to the people of Guatemala and some of the other South American countries? You can't come here. Go home. Go back to your violence. Is it possible that that's what Egypt is doing? Well, if that's what's happening and the Palestinian people want to survive, their enemy isn't Israel. Their enemy is among them. And they need to find them before they wipe them out. They need to find the people who are shooting these rockets, pick up arms against them. They're going to die anyway. Pick up arms against them and stop them from shooting rockets at Israel. Because Israel is killing everybody. They are of the notion, let God sort them out. Because we are killing everybody. Now, if you're on that side where they're going to be shooting at you, and you know there is no escape, and you know the problem is that Israel says, stop shooting rockets. Disarm. And they say, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to move closer to a hospital, and we're going to move closer to a school, and we're going to move closer to a nursing home, and we're going to move closer to a park, and we're going to move closer to an apartment building, and we're going to move it to the inner city, so stop chasing us. That's what Hamas thinks it's going to do. It thinks that it's going to move into this city, and Israel is going to stop firing at them. And they're still going to be able to shoot them rockets. But them rockets can only go so far. So once Israel has them pushed back far enough, and that's what they're doing. People think that Israel is just bombing indiscriminately. The stupid people think that. Israel has a plan. And the plan is to push back the people who are shooting the rockets to where the rockets will have to fall in Gaza. But you can't explain that to a fanatic. You can't explain that to an American who hates America and is looking for any reason to blame America for this. Americans blame America for this. And people throughout the world seem to think that America is their only savior. They receive more aid from the world than Israel does from the United States, twice as much, maybe 3 times as much, which would put them at $6 to $9 billion a year from world organizations that support Gaza. 1.3 million people, maybe a little more. I don't know. I don't know how many people are in Israel, but I know there's more in Israel than there is in Gaza. No, putting babies and trying to use babies as a shield is just going to get your ass sent straight to hell. That's what it's going to do. Coming on the internet,
it's 6 o'clock.
Getting on TV and saying, look what they did to my baby. Look what they did to my house. This could very well be Israel. I mean, Gaza is in Israel. I don't know what is so hard to understand about that. What is so hard about picking up a map and looking and seeing where Gaza is at? It's in Israel. Well, they got all their little arguments because they start history wherever they want to. They'll start history in 2006. That's where they want to start history. This has been going on for 64 years, and that's just this. That's just this little skirmish. Thousands of years Israel has been surviving. They've survived thousands of years because most of the time they didn't lay down. And the one time that they did, the Nazis kicked the living shit out of them. Tried to annihilate them. Yeah? After 6 million, the world stood up. 6 million Jews. You think they're going to lay down again? You think they're going to sit back and let some little ragtag outfit shoot some rockets at them? Destroy their people? No. They're fire ants. They're wasps. Kick their little hive and see what you get. They're showing the world what happens when you attack Israel. And they are tired of people who don't live in Israel talk about peace. Move into harm's way and then talk about peace. Let's see how often you're willing to ask for peace. That goes for some of these streamers too. Go to Israel and stream from Israel. And then talk about the babies being killed over here. But the difference is Israel has a plan to protect its people. Gaza started a war they cannot defend. They cannot defend. Because they're depending on the humanity of the world. They're depending on using our hearts to destroy Israel. That is their weapon. That is their weapon of mass destruction. The world's hearts. That is their weapon of mass destruction. That's how they plan to destroy Israel, with the hearts of the world. But in the meantime, they're going to parade their little children in front of a camera and say, look what they did. Look what they did to our babies. They didn't do it to your babies. You did it to your babies. You put your babies there. You put your babies in harm's way. You allowed them to be killed. You sent them to Allah. Israel tells you, we are bombing here. Don't be there when we get there. Well, I didn't think that they meant it. I seen one man say, I didn't think they would do it, he said. And he's standing in front of a bombed out building. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what makes people that stupid. I can appreciate a good God. I can. But I'll tell you what. If a man pointed a gun in my head and told me to get the hell out of there, I wouldn't be telling him, well, go ahead. Because if you kill me, I'll meet my Lord, Jesus. Go ahead, pull the trigger. And then he pulls the trigger and blows your head off. And then you get there and you find out there was nobody home. There was no God. The joke was on you. Yeah, the joke was on you. They are lighting up the city. And they are showing the people, we are coming. And if you're anywhere where that light is, I would go. Most of the time they say, go to the light. I would go to the dark. Wherever that thing ain't glowing, that's where I'd be going. I would not sit there and wait for my Savior. I would not sit there. Because, you know, you've got to get the message sometime. Israel has had enough. And they are going to push Hamas back into Gaza City as far as they can, to where them rockets can't reach Israel. And they're going to blow up every one of those tunnels, and they're saying they number in the thousands. And they're going to build a desert a desert around Gaza. Where are they going to get their water and food and medicine and supplies? They said they were tunneling into Israel to get medicine. How were they? Who was giving them medicine from Israel? If you can put a baby in harm's way, lion is no problem. I mean, I don't even know what possesses a person to think like that. But Israel has had enough. You could see things falling out of the sky. You know, that may be a rocket. A rocket was launched. And it looked like that was a rocket. But wherever the rocket is launched from, Israel fires right into that area. They are fighting in 2014. This is not World War II, where you can shoot a bomb and then they have to kind of guess where it came from. No, there's satellites and GPS and there's all kinds of stuff now. You shoot a rocket and it won't be long before a bomb is right behind it. But by then, Hamas knows. They shoot the rocket and run. But what about the people? Do they run? Are they smart enough to run after Hamas runs out of the building? Runs out of the school, gets out of the park? Are they smart enough to run and follow them to the next launch? There's smoke right there. They're coming in. Yep, they're coming in. There's one of their flares landing in the city, it looks like. No, this trying to get the world to stop Israel because of humanity, humanitarian things, is ridiculous. I wouldn't trust a man with a gun to my head. No way, no how. I don't believe that they could be that stupid. They're an older people. They're an old people. They've been at war forever. Sometimes people just get tired of living. That's all I can say. Sometimes they just get tired of living. But if you're going to attack, at least be ready to fight. It's a different story when you're defending. And there's all kinds of reasons why Hamas is mad. But it's already been said over and over. There's a third party here, and that's some of the, and I say some of the Palestinian people. Israel is lighting this thing up in squares. And they are either warning the people that this is about to be leveled. I mean, I even can't imagine this. The firepower that we have today to just, I'm looking at this area right here and the firepower we have just to level this in minutes. In minutes. We have the capability to level this area in minutes. Just destroy all these buildings. There's got to be 30 buildings, 40 buildings that I could see just in the glow of the flare. And they're saying, well, they're hospitals and they're children, they're wounded people. We warned you. That's all Israel has to say. We warned you. And Israel is pissed. Israel is protecting. The army of Israel is doing its job, protecting the people. The army of the United States is doing its job and would do its job if this happened in the United States. But I've said before, and I'll say it again, Gaza reminds me of a reservation, not another country. Not Mexico, not Canada, not even another state in the United States. I don't even know what state we would have that is as small as Gaza. If I understood it right, California is more than all the people in Israel, including the ones in Gaza. I wouldn't depend on nothing. I would cut and run. I would run to the next bucket of water and the next bucket of water and the next bucket of water, and I would take my family with me. There ain't nothing worth dying for. Nothing. Plenty to live for. But if it looks like you're going to die, I honestly don't think there's anything worth dying for. Now, we've got heroes that have died trying to save other people. That might be an exception to the rule because you don't think you're going to die. But if you know damn good and well you're going to die and you got a choice to live, and you choose die, that's on you. If you have a chance to save your children and you don't do it because you don't think the other people are going to do what they're going to do, that's on you. And that's what I think is happening in Gaza. This isn't their first war with the Jewish people. And, I honestly don't think they'll ever forget. I learned yesterday that half of Gaza is 18 and under. Could that be why there's such foolishness? Because these kids are just too damn young to understand that they're not immortal? I don't know. But I know one thing, they have to get the hell out of there. Because Israel isn't bluffing. Israel has showed its hand. And as far as human life goes, they have a better hand. They've gotten to the point where they're taking lives by the thousands. It's over 100,000. It's over 1,000 that Israel has taken their life. Some people say it's murder, but then there's 47 people, Jewish people, that have died in this, but nobody calls that murder. It's only murder. It's only murder when the Israelis do it. That's the only time it's murder. If Hamas does it, it's not murder. That's the problem right there. There was a newscaster complaining that the major news outlets, I don't know if around the world, but in the United States, were covering only Israel's point of view. And then the interviewer asked this reporter, journalist, whatever you want to call her, if she supported Hamas. She said, I don't support anybody. I'm reporting the news. Well, what is your report on Israel? She didn't have a report on Israel. She just wanted to report on Gaza and her people, at the same time denying that she was Palestinian. And that's the way it works. And that's why Israel is not going to stop bombing, because they cannot trust anybody, including the United States. Yeah, they're lighting this up, and then you can hear explosions now. They're setting this all up, and you better not be there. And then off to the right, it looked like there was cars. Or there's cars or something. Yeah, there's cars moving down there. You better get out of the way. And they don't do it. They don't do it. And then they get blown up. And they blame Israel. It's war. They're lucky Israel has done what it's doing, warning them. Because Israel knows that it's not going to go and do like the United States did in Iraq. Go in there and take these out door by door, apartment by apartment. Israel isn't going to do that. And get more Israelis killed? Nope. Them days are over. That kind of warfare, fighting their fight is over. So warn the people who want to get out of there to get out of there. Because they're not going to go door to door anymore. And get shot and blown up. Booby traps everywhere. They're not going to do that. They are going to level this place. They're going to come in with bulldozers, and they're going to build a bigger buffer zone. And Hamas is going to have to get some stronger rockets from somewhere. But Israel is making it very clear. You get another rocket, and we will clear some more land. Until the only thing left is the sea. The people from the West Bank will be able to see the sea. Because there isn't going to be any more Gaza Strip. So do you think that the Palestinian people or the people of Gaza, I don't know if they're who's who, if Hamas is Palestinian or what they are, I don't know who they are, who's what. Do you think that they'll sit through rocket launchings the way they did 22 days ago, 21 days ago? You think they'll sit there and let them do this now? If they do, then I would say that, they are just terrified more of Hamas, who is there to save them, than they are of Israel. That's what I think. So I'm going to archive this, and that's my little rant, and I'm going to listen because it's all been said. It's been said over and over and over. Both sides say the same thing that they've been saying for 22 days. Israel says stop firing the rockets. The Palestinian people and the bleeding hearts of the world say stop bombing Gaza. No matter what, we don't care if they're sending rockets over to Israel. Stop bombing. You're killing innocent people. I call the people that are being hit by those rockets coming from Gaza are guilty of something. Of which a lot of people think that. A lot of people think, there is no good Jew. Kill them all. Let Allah sort them out. That's what they think. And that's what Israel has decided to live in. It lives in the middle of that. It's just amazing how they've survived so long. But no one can say they didn't go down fighting. But also, it isn't just Israel. A lot of these people think this about the United States and Americans. Like I said, when they attacked 9/11, there were no civilians. We're all combatants. They just killed the power. Somebody killed the power in the... That's what they did. Oh, there's coming back on. The little generators are coming on. But they just killed... looked like they killed the power. Oops, there's something back on. That must be the hospital or something. I don't know. But I think, if anything, the Israelis may surround the hospitals and start surrounding areas where people who aren't part of this or don't want to be part of this can go and be protected. But not from, they won't be protecting them from Israelis. They'll be protecting them from Hamas. And that's what may happen. I didn't think about that till just now. That may be what Israel is going to have to do. Israel is going to have to form some safety camps for the people who aren't part of this, never was. It's possible there's innocent victims. But they'll be protecting them from Hamas. And then they got to weed out Hamas. That's a hell of a job. That's a hell of a job to try to figure out who's Hamas and who's not. Because when Hamas knows they're going to lose this, they know that. They are hoping after hope that the world community is going to step in. But Israel may just say, you know what, the hell with the world. The hell with them. There is no government in the world that would let another group of people attack their people, and they have a standing military, and the military is just going to stand by and let it happen. We have police departments. We have hostage situations in the United States all the time. We don't just let things happen. Nobody does. Israel is no different. I think Israel would like to live in peace, but it's going to be pretty hard. They cannot ever trust these people. They can't. Because as soon as they have a breakdown or a breakthrough, whatever you want to call it, it just takes one. Get himself a gun. It happens here in the United States. Look at all the guns they got over there. We got all the guns here, but look at the guns they got there. Rockets. All it takes is some nut living in Israel, supposed to be at peace. And he aims his rocket. Maybe he'll hit a hospital or a school or an apartment building or an old folks home. Maybe he'll hit the airport. Because Israel wanted peace. Yep, here they come. They're going to light up the sky. They're going to start bombing the hell out of this place. But they lit up the sky and told you we're coming. I mean, that's what I guessed. There was no other reason to be lighting it up like that. And then cut the power. I mean, it looks dark from here at this camera view, but I would have been walking the streets. It's not so dark anywhere in a city that you can't walk the streets and get out. Get away from what they just lit up. Because them are some serious bombs. You can't get in the basement. Instead of digging tunnels to get into Israel, they should have been digging tunnels to hide from these bombs. As a matter of fact, that's where they should be running. They should be going to those tunnels and hiding. But, if you're caught in those tunnels, it may not be a very good outcome for you. Because Israel can't trust anybody. So, I'm going to cut it and just go ahead and switch to Denny's audio and see what he's got to say. He looked a little upset, sounded a little upset, and I don't blame him. They're your friends. It's people that you know are good people. You know that, and that seems like that's the position that Denny is in. But when it's war, trying to plead isn't going to work. You've got to leave. You've got to go someplace else. You've got to live to tell the story. That's what you have to do first. And then if you feel like you still want to fight with Israel, after all of this, if you still feel that you want to fight with Israel because it's wrong and they're murderers and they're occupiers and whatever you want to call it, you still feel that you want to fight with them, go organize somewhere. Live to fight another day, because this is lost. This is lost. The world is not going to step in and go to war with Israel, because there's something wrong here. Why? Nobody's getting involved. There's something wrong here why nobody's involved in Syria. Libya's going up too. It's all people in Libya are all mad, killing each other. Lights are slowly coming on, probably generators turning off and on. Maybe only for a moment to find something, then they turn them back off. Doesn't matter. You can't hide in the dark. You can't hide from the rockets that are coming just because you turn off the lights. You got to leave. I'd line up all around the Egyptian border. 1.3 million people. I would move to the Egyptian border and let the world step in at that point if it's going to step in. But then there's a reason. Egypt ain't letting them in, letting them cross the border. And it's not because they're friendly with Israel. There's a reason. I don't know what it is. I did see the other day, a few days ago, people leaving. They said these people are leaving. Maybe they were just leaving the area. I don't know. Maybe only certain people can cross into Egypt. I don't know. But I'm going to archive this and leave it in my little video thing. For whoever wants to listen to it, listen to it. Maybe I make sense. Maybe I don't. But it's just my opinion. Be safe.